Did you hear the...
So first thing we're reading is Killing Myself by Louis Findlay. This is just a very short piece. Exterior dawn wasteland, blue hour. A parked car on the side of the road, miles from the nearest town. Henry 30, smokes a cigarette beside his car, his back to us, troubled. He talks to someone on the phone.
Either way, it's murder. Is there no other way? Okay, yes.
He hangs up, takes a large drag of the cigarette and tosses it away. He reaches into the car, pulls a gun through the window and walks heavily across the gravel to the other side of the road. A frantic voice is heard as Henry walks towards the other man.
You fucking bastard. You stole my life, my company, God, my family.
I stole nothing. Victoria and the girls are mine.
You're a mistake, a stupid mistake. Everything you have is because of me.
Wrong.
They have no idea who you are.
I'm Henry Cobb.
I'm Henry Cobb.
We finally reveal the man he is talking to, Henry 2, a perfect clone of Henry 1. He rattles his chains, trying to get hold of Henry 1. Beat.
You're not me. You're not me. We share 99.9% of the same DNA. You have my eyes, my voice, my fucking memories, but you're not me.
Henry 1 starts to doubt his existence, his mind fried. He paces back and forth.
I'm Henry Cobb. I'm Henry Cobb.
This has gone on for so long that you can't even tell the difference anymore.
Can you?
There's a number under your left eye.
What?
It's what differentiates you from me.
Henry 1 realizes if this is true, then he'll be decommissioned and follow the same fate as Henry 2. He points the gun at Henry 2.
I'm sorry, Henry. But even if that was true, we both know there can only be one of us.
The chains rattle as Henry 2 attempts to stop at Henry 1.
I wish things could be different, but the world isn't ready for you yet.
No, wait.
Bang! Henry 2 falls dead on the ground, his eyes wide open, looking back at Henry 1. Henry 1 is frozen and tries to process what just happened. He turns his back and walks to the car snorri cam, shaking out his arms. Henry 2 can be seen out of focus in the background. He vomits and continues back to the car. He opens the boot and takes out a shovel to bury the body. Curiosity gets the better of him and he heads to the driver's seat and looks at himself in the mirror. He places his fingers on his eyelids to check for a serial number, but then he stops himself and removes his fingers from his eye. The possibility of being a clone scares him, knowing he'll eventually follow the same fate as Henry 2. Ignorance is bliss. For now, all he has to worry about is burying the body and living the rest of his life as a free man. And that's the end of it. Very short, 2.5 pages. So, thoughts. Those of you who weren't reading, Stewart, what's your thoughts?
Okay, interesting idea, I guess. It's kind of a bit confusing towards the end about which. I was trying to work out. Henry's shot and falls to the ground, and yet he's still looking at Henry 1, and then Henry 2 is vomiting and continues back to the car, unless that means Henry 1. So I was a bit confused towards the end about the action there. Touches of Blade Runner going on here, I think, with the number under the eye and saying I'm going to be decommissioned. You know, the references, sort of cloning and well, not robotics, but you know, that kind of thing. The reference to chains for Henry 2, that's kind of, is that some kind of ghost reference of a kind of alternative? What was the point of the chains? I wasn't quite sure about that, and whether that was some kind of, you know, sort of Christmas Carol type Jacob Marley sort of ghost coming out with chains. And I wasn't sure what a snorri cam was. Can anyone illuminate on what that is?
Oh, that's a walking. That's like having your camera on a selfie stick thing and walking back.
Okay, got you. Right, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, kind of grabs your attention, and I'd like to see where this goes. Definitely, and kind of whether other characters are going to be involved? Is it just going to be these two? Are you going to see Henry I's, life that he says Henry II has destroyed? There's lots of questions for me about this. Yeah, it's got potential, and yeah, keep writing, I'd say.
Okay, thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, also find all the clone sort of stuff interesting. I kind of think, I don't know, I feel like some of you might disagree with me, but I'd like a little bit more of a build up, perhaps, if you're going to do another draft. Something that can make us sort of care about this Henry person from the off, so that we know maybe the sort of stuff he's got to lose if he's a clone, etc. Whichever one of them ends up being a clone. I think it might be nice to have a little bit more build up to that. That's all I've got, really. Yeah, it's interesting. Keep at it, I think.
Thank you, Emma.
I'm not sure if it's if this is it, if this is the length that it's going to be, and that's all. Apparently he's Lewis, because we follow each other on Twitter, and he says I say it as it's pronounced Lewis, but I think Lewis may have intended it to be just this length. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's interesting, because you think, I wonder what the sort of what happens when you send a film this short out into the world, where its sort of market is and things. So
I think it's a showreel piece.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting. Yeah, because I was thinking, it's intriguing, it's interesting. How would you make it? Would you make it so that it was the same actor and you just have to have the back of somebody else's head, or would you just do camera angles? And would that be a little bit frustrating? I was thinking, do the men have to look the same? Could it be that, one of them, because there's lots and lots of doppelganger stories, aren't there, in literature and film and things, and sometimes the person is convinced that the other one that they see is their doppelganger, and it actually isn't, and they're committing crimes on the strength of it and things. And I just wondered whether actually that would free you up to have two actors, so you could have them working off each other. Just a thought. And my feeling is also, for something so short, it's going to sound a really mad thing to say, but I wonder if it's a bit dialogue heavy. And actually, I do feel like how much do you dare to pare it back? How little can you have of dialogue and still tell this story? And would it be more interesting without some of it? Because there is something chilling about that idea of there being another you. I mean, for me, it's bad enough there's one of me, let alone there being two. So it'd just be awful to think about there being another one out there somewhere. So yeah, I'm just wondering whether you could strip back that dialogue.
Yeah, show don't tell.
And maybe even play, if you wanted to, with different reasons for Henry I to go into this killing with, just so that you can try different moods, and because he's furious, and they're really cross with each other. You just think, I wonder what other things would be interesting to play. Regret.
It reminds me of Moon. When he finds out that he's actually a clone, how furious he becomes. Yeah, obviously Blade Runner and Westworld. But sorry, I interrupted you.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think it's a self-tape showreel.
Showreel, yeah,
script.
it could be,
Yeah.
couldn't it? So it's meant to be that length.
Yeah.
The Double by Dostoevsky, Despair by Nabokov. I'm just thinking about things that have that sort of really chilling, they met themselves quality to them. But yeah, I would have a play and just see what can I do just to make it, maybe you could even do it without dialogue. I don't know. That would be quite fun to see what you got there. But yeah, strip it back, I reckon.
Cool, thank you. John.
Well, it's been a while since I read any Dostoevsky, so I have to revisit that. A little bit of something I personally would do if I'd written this is, if Henry I is the clone, surely he should be Henry II. And Henry II, who's the original Henry, should be Henry I. Because by the numbers themselves, number 2 is the clone. And on that point, I have met my doppelganger He's a chef at Saltburn Hotel in Saltburn.
Wow.
Because I had my back to him. He was prepping on a glass front display, and he was directly behind me, and the waitress looked at me, looked at him, looked at me, looked at him, looked at me.
Wow.
There we go.
So you never know when they're going to come across you. But no, I mean, it's intriguing, but yes, I would like more of a build-up than just to walk straight into this. Just so we've got an idea of how they end up at this point. I mean, it doesn't have to be massive. You know, you're only talking like maybe a paragraph, just to give you an idea of how they end up on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And why is Henry II wrapped in chains?
Yeah.
I mean, is he in chains because he's been abducted?
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Rory.
Well, I sort of gave my notes, I think. Yeah, when I jumped into Emma's slot. So there.
When he walked all over.
Okay, cool. So yes, I gave some written feedback on this, but I will just, everything you've all said actually. I had thought, when is this supposed to be? It's not now, is it? It's not present day. Is it a slightly in the future? A long way in the future? Would be just good to know.
Could it not be in the past?
I mean, yeah, or in the past.
I mean, they experimented with cloning in the 50s.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't know, do we? The name and the man and Henry II. The man, I've assumed. I think as you read it, you get the impression that the man is actually Henry II, and that's kind of made clear when the man off screen says, "I'm Henry Cobb," and then you state at the end of page 1, Henry II is a clone of Henry I. That's just not clear. You can use his name. I mean, this is like an instruction manual, it's not a book. You're not keeping it a secret until you reveal it. You have to let us know who that is. You can say, but Henry I doesn't realize this is Henry II until he sees him, you know, because I appreciate he's man off screen, and then when you see him, he's Henry II. Or there's a little bit of confusion in there because Henry II does appear in that little speech on page 1.
And if he's got the same voice, then we'll suss it.
And if he's got the same voice, yeah, exactly. The chains business. I mean, hard to know what the chains are about, really, because you could sort of up at the start where you say park car on the road, etc. Maybe there's a figure in the that we don't see the face of. We only see somebody standing there, or chained on the ground, or chained to a post, or what are the chains about? I've got a note about dialogue up top of page 2. Oh yeah, I'm with whoever said maybe we can do it without dialogue or with less dialogue. If they are the same and we see that, why do you need to tell us that they share 99% of the same DNA, have voice, eyes? We can hear and see that, so we don't need to know that. That's really all I'm going to say there, because I did give my notes, but I did think actually twins as well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with twins. My grandma was a twin. I mean, I guess it's only if you're an only child or you're not a twin that you think, oh my God, there's somebody else that looks like me. How weird.
Yeah.
But if you
suppose
are
twins
a twin,
don't be, they're not afraid of doppelgangers because they've
it's
got
not
one.
a big deal. No.
Yeah.
My grand's twin used to pretend to be her. Yes.
I went to school with 2 girls who were identical,
Yeah, exactly.
and they used to date the same guy,
Yeah.
purely and simply because they'd take a week off each. There'd be a week off.
But it does make you think that this is going somewhere else, that this is the start of something, and I do appreciate that it is supposed to be an end in itself, but it feels like it's the start of something. So I hope that helps anyway.